Testing 1, 2. Okay, we're working. Cool. Let's see. Hmm.
Was like a gypsy trick where they would
No.
the girls would do the dancing and the
Yes.
belly dancing, and all the guys would be like, "What is this? Oh my gosh, is someone doing a fertility dance for me?" And so it'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" And then while you're looking, another person's behind you picking your pocket.
Oh my gosh, I didn't
Like
know that. I
if
love
you're
it.
in Europe and someone's making a lot of noise, like street performers or something, put your hands in your back pockets or whatever, just like make sure that you are not ready to be pickpocketed. Anytime, even if I see someone juggling, I'm like, oops, don't pay
Stand
too
back
close.
for the win.
Yeah, someone's coming. Like who's
Yeah.
picking my pocket?
Oh
Not that
my
it's
God.
always the case, but that's like a big part of it. Yeah. Yeah. Even in like Shakespeare's time, people would look at the stage like, to be or not to be. Wow. What a great speech. And meanwhile, someone's behind them picking their
Like
pocket.
taking money from them.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
right. It's like exactly what's happening.
It's like
Yeah,
trans
like
something.
most of the people are like voting against their own interests because they're
Yeah.
not looking beyond the surface. Yeah.
Mhm. Is that a UFO? Exactly. How about that? That's another one. Now,
Yeah.
it's like everyone's talking about UFOs. I'm like,
Because
where are they?
the
Yeah.
orcas, yeah,
hmm
all the distractions. Yeah.
You just explained governments and politics around the world. Exactly. It's a trick to get your money and to control you. It's always been that way. Have you seen the one? Did you see the little thing I posted with the little kid who's like, governments are a means by which we are controlled by like a means of power. And he goes, what, we have freedom in this country. So she's like, freedom? Can I cross a border like an animal? Can animals cross the border? Can I? Well, sure, you're free to travel with a passport if I have permission.
Oh my gosh.
Mommy, may I please leave the country? Like that's what we're doing now.
It's so true. Let me put spikes in the river so you can't cross over.
Right, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What the hell? Why is there a barrier in the river? We're human beings. Do what we want to do.
And the borders are made up anyways. They're invisible. A
Yes.
guy came and drew a line and was like, "This is mine and this is yours." No,
And
they
I'm
like stabbed him to death.
Right.
Like,
If you cross this line, I'm going to stab you. That's what it is. That's like that's the if you cross this line, I'm going to murder you. Okay. That's how borders started.
so
You know? My cave.
and that's how they still are. Like, I mean, you just cross them and with armed guards and.
Oh my God. So yesterday Karina had a day off, and so we all took a day off together. It was pretty cool. And and we watched this show about like border crossing in America, mostly in Texas, like people crossing the border, and the cops. It was like a reality show, but it was like almost like documentary style about all the stuff that's happening at the border, and almost every single thing was like some bullshit pills, some bullshit drugs, something coming this way and going oh, dogs. I did not think of that. Like people bringing dogs intended to sell. So they'll bring over like 8 puppies across the border, and they're
Right.
like,
or like lizards and snakes and
yeah,
stuff.
they'll bring over
Yeah.
animals, right? So I think that's amazing. So all the stuff coming from Mexico into America, they caught a baby, a bunch of dogs. I only watched like 2 episodes. Baby, bunch of dogs, drugs, prescription drugs, and some of them were like, okay, there were some cocaine and things like that, but mostly what they were catching were pills
But
that are legal.
you would find cocaine if you pulled people over in like every city of
Yeah,
America.
in LA, right?
So,
Exactly.
like,
But the crazy thing to me is, what do you think's going the other way?
yeah.
What do you think? Because the other way they're catching shit too. And so that's really fascinating because, of course, you know the answer. It's guns. So guns are going into Mexico, and Mexico's like, America, please stop sending us guns. And then drugs are going up from Mexico,
Right.
and America's like, these Mexicans can't control their, like
So crazy.
we have
Oh my
strict
gosh.
laws about drugs here.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I
Yeah.
think we have. I can't tell if we have I think we have an honest question from a maybe Brant is veg curious. Listen, Brant, I'm gonna answer the question. Why?
How about I read it, you answer it, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Thoughts on hunting, given wild animals will die in a horrible way in the wild regardless, and a bullet is far more merciful, is it? Also, animals reproduce without
Yes.
consent, propagating suffering into the future.
Okay. Well, I'd like to
Please.
answer. Humans
Answer.
also reproduce without consent and propagate suffering into the future. So, are you going to contribute to that? Does that give you a pass to do that? Like, the most merciful thing to do to an animal would be to not shoot them at all. And as vegans, although we don't agree with hunting because we don't look at animals as not deserving of rights, and that's the whole thing. So we're really concerned with the animals that are being forced to be bred to life. They're being kept in concrete shitholes, never able to exhibit their natural behaviors. They're separated from their families. They're painfully tortured and mutilated without any anesthesia, without any painkillers, and those animals never have any way to get away or to live their life, right? I mean, I think it's bad to shoot an animal that's living their life, but as vegans, we're really concerned with the rights violation of breeding someone to life to use them and kill them, right? So
That's pretty good.
So
But what else though? There's another part though that you're I think you're missing though, Lauren, because
tell me.
what is the problem with hunting? So we all kind of agree what the problem is with raising animals, breeding them, and all that stuff. But why is hunting bad?
Because you're still violating the animal's right to just be alive and not be killed.
Well, also like veganism is don't utilize animals, right? Don't use animals.
At all.
So if you're killing an animal for fun, that's using an animal. If you're killing an animal to eat them, that's using an animal. And now this whole thing about the suffering into the future is a little bit funny to me because predators will only catch about 1% of any population. That's why there's only a few predators really, and they're only catching about 1%. 99% go on about their business. Also, since predators are not kind of moral agents, we call them, then they can't commit rights violations. So that's not a rights violation. Then I don't think people should reproduce either. Ooh, well, then an antinatalist position is something we do explore on here. That's for sure.
I thought this is interesting that he's saying he'd never inflict unnecessary suffering upon another life. I mean, taking away their life from them is inflicting unnecessary suffering.
Yeah.
All the world's leading dietetic associations agree that you don't need to eat animals. So you're always unnecessarily inflicting suffering on them, whether you kill them without pain or not. You're taking their life from them, and that's a rights violation. So we don't like that. Also, there is breeding in hunting. there are people who are breeding deer populations to life so that
Foxes,
you can hunt them and pay them for permits and stuff. And then they're
pheasants.
trying to say that there's a population control issue, but there's also a human population control issue, as obviously you understand by having gotten a vasectomy. So by your own logic, then you are kind of saying we could just go and off humans too if we do
Yeah.
it, peacefully and humanely. But there's really no humane way to kill somebody who wants to live when you don't have to.
Right.
Even if it is with a quick bullet to the head, would
But
you say
also the bullet
it's
thing's a
humane?
myth, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
we've all
mean,
seen
would you say it's
deer
humane if
with
it
like
was your
deer limping around with a bullet in its ass. That's for
but would
like
you call it humane if it was your head getting even a bullet into it? I mean, it's just not. There's no humane way to do that to another living being. Yeah.
Paul,
So that's
Facebook
where
is
we
having
are.
problems. Facebook is having problems again.
Again,
I don't know why. Yeah.
get it together, Zuck.
Yeah,
So
Zuck.
hopefully we answered your question, and
I would like
that's
to
it.
add though one
Please
tiny
do.
kind of semantic thing, just a semantic
Do
thing.
it.
Nothing about your argument or anything. It's just that I think that this is one of the issues that we run into a lot when it comes to veganism is that we end up focusing on suffering, and
Right. It's
suffering.
not.
It's not really about suffering. It's about you said rights violations. I totally agree, but it's
Mhm.
also about like just don't use animal. How hard is that? Don't use animals they don't belong to you. Why? Because it might lead to suffering. It might lead to more abuses. It might lead to all sorts of horrible things. So
Right.
just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, I like the rights violation a lot more than like, well, everyone. Yeah, but life is suffering. Does that mean we're going to start forcibly castrating people like they did to poor Alan Turing, or like I mean, it's a weird kind of slippery slope argument, right? Like we're going to end suffering. That's not what veganism is about. Veganism is
Right.
not about ending all suffering.
Right.
That's
It really has
or
nothing to do with suffering. I mean,
not
like
really.
a lot of people choose it because they want to cause the least amount of suffering, but
Yes.
ultimately the movement is about the social justice of the rights violation, right? And
Ah, yeah,
so,
vegan
yeah.
yoga mama.
So like,
That's it.
so brands like, no, you can't suffer if you're dead, but also if somebody else takes your right away to live, then like you're just
That's a
kind of
violation. Yeah.
you're violating the rights, and you're just kind of a dick.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Sorry. I mean,
I
if
mean,
you're not willing to use the same logic with humans or dogs or cats or
right.
babies, then or
Well,
cows.
he's saying he would take it for humans. I guess like anything could be justified in order to prevent a greater harm. If you're a utilitarian, I suppose that might be true. But
Yeah,
who
but
made
if
you?
you're
Who put
really
you in
using,
charge?
but if you're using that argument, then you should never want to be contributing to animal agriculture, since it's like the
Yeah.
leading cause of the destruction of the environment that we all depend on for survival.
I don't know that he's
So
making that argument, Brent, but I think that this idea of like anything can be justified. I mean, this is exactly the problem with utilitarianism.
it's not
Anything can
though.
be
Not
justified.
anything can be justified though.
In utilitarianism, it can
I mean, it
greater.
can, where you say like, if I like do this, then like Hitler won't do that or something.
Right,
But
exactly.
that's
Stupid things
but
like
the
if
other
I
thing
torture
about
one
those
baby, the
right,
Holocaust won't
but the
happen.
other thing about those situations is they're not happening 3 times every day, and opening your mouth to eat is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the assumption Olawale Blue is making is that Brent
I
is
think
a
what
vegan, another utilitarian
well,
vegan. This is the problem.
I think what Brant means to say is anything can be justified so that people can live with their own cognitive dissonance and willful ignorance and chosen violations of others'
Oh,
rights.
consequentialist. There you go. Yeah, trouble by their own death, and also I'm a consequentialist somewhere is more. Yeah, consequentialism is the same thing as threshold deontology, because threshold deontology is about rights until something so dire happens, I turn into a consequentialist, right? But consequentialism is not veganism. It's not the same thing. Now, a lot of times, people who are plant based or have like maybe aligned values, similar values to vegans, they're utilitarians or fucking consequentialists. But that's not veganism. Veganism is I respect all of them
So I
and
don't use
I
them.
acknowledge that they all have rights. Right, exactly.
I
It's
just don't use them ever,
yeah,
no matter
right.
what. Like even if I'm traveling and it's like the delicacy of the town or what, like I'm not on a diet. I'm against hurting others because
Should be
they have rights, and that's
pretty
why.
simple, right? Yeah, I respect and observe the rights of others,
Yeah,
no matter what.
yeah.
So
I think just
that
saying vegan.
yeah, I think
I mean,
this is the problem with people like Vegan Gains and them with their consequentialism. It always ends up with this type of thinking, like anything can be justified under certain circumstances. If I tie
of course,
myself up in knots,
Of course,
I
you
could
can
find
have
a
you
reason.
can do mental gymnastics to justify anything to yourself, so you can sleep at night with the horrible things that you're doing. Yeah.
Right. But I
And
think what
I
he's
care
saying is
about
that like
sentient. I'm a vegan in terms of what I purchase. I
if you
also
well, but a
care.
consequentialist would
Vegans
say
don't fish and vegans don't hunt. So, Brant, I'm sorry, but you're not vegan.
if I had to kill 5 million people to save 6 million people, that would be like the consequentialist view, right?
Right.
Because I saved 1 million people, killing 5 million to save 6 million is the better way. But that's like, to me, it's just chopped logic. It doesn't really hold any kind of value in our day-to-day, everyday, real lives.
How can you say that you care about sentience if you're hooking a sentient being in their face and drowning them? I don't get that.
Because he's the suffering police. You see, he's
Miss
put
Minter
himself into a
Justice.
position of
Yeah, maybe he's
of
just
great
trolling.
power. It's like an egomaniac kind of idea. Like I can
Oh, he's
determine. I'm King
oh.
Solomon, and I shall
Yeah,
determine
well,
who shall
here's
suffer and who will not.
the Declaration of Brand. Indeed, I'm
Yeah.
better than a vegan. I end wildlife suffering.
Wow.
Prove
And
to me that
wildlife
animal
suffering.
prove to me that animals died by suffering from
That's
a
so
predator.
funny.
I'm
Like
not a vegan or a non-vegan. I mean, it's just
as
like
I was saying that type of thinking
I
turns you
know
into an
that's what he wrote.
egomaniac. That's what he writes.
I think he needs to go because this is a channel for real vegans. I don't think
This is
Brand
a channel for vegans.
Troll, yeah, the other people are
Troll
calling
alert.
me troll alerts
All
because
right,
I'm a
Goric.
vegan, but I kill animals. All right.
Goric's a member.
Bye,
So
Brant. Thanks for joining. Thanks
bye,
for coming to
Brant.
help our boost our show in the algorithm.
Thanks,
So,
Brant. I'm
hope you
sorry,
don't
but
get hooked in the face.
this is a channel. Oh shit! He just jumped. I can't catch him. He's a slippery fish. There we go. Ban user.
Echo chamber.
This is a channel for vegans.
Yeah,
Vegan
the
isn't a diet.
solution
Thank you, Jigger.
Solution to wildlife suffering is to contribute to it. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys are the best. Speaking of elite.
Idiots. All
So
of
the solution to wildlife is suffering is to contribute to it. LMAO. Thank you, Justin Levance, a goddamn
I mean,
gentleman and a scholar right
seriously,
here.
you guys, it's really
Hey.
nonsensical. What?
So,
Don't you have something to tell us?
Me? Do I have something to say?
You?
Well, I am in background check right now for a job that I've just tentatively accepted. Should I make the announcement here on Sunday School?
You should. Where else would you do it?
I was thinking about putting it on just like I was really considering putting on the Patreon just like a video of me just talking to the
For your
Patreon.
special. Well, you could do a special thing for them, but
I
like
should.
I
I think
you should
well
also
I think with
Not a troll.
Patreon
These
and the
people are just
membership
idiots.
part of the channel, I have got the opportunity to make a lot.
People are so stupid. They generally think people are trolls because they're just so baffled by actual intelligence. They're just like, wait a minute, what? What? That's not bad? Huh? Wait a minute. Impeding things right happens every second of every day. Every time I'm like moving my feet, I'm like crushing like microorganisms who have like rights. Oh, but they're not sentient. Yeah, but guess what? You would say the same thing about what if a person's in a coma? Oh, the person's in a coma. They still could have intentions. Well, they're not sentient, so they don't have intentions. Oh, but they're alive. Oh, well, now you're wandering into life, not suffering. Fuck all of you people. Hate everybody. Everything is bullshit.
But there's deism. That's what I'm talking about. That deism.
You still think the Catholic Church is infallible?
No.
No, I don't. That has started. That's leaking hose too.
Okay.
But I'm here. I'm leaning on deism. I'm thinking about becoming a deist. That's my defense. I'm defending deism.
All right. So how about we do that then? Rather than to say we're defending deism, can you defend deism?
Okay, my defense on deism. Okay, first of all, brilliant men have been deists. Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, Benjamin Franklin.
Okay, wait. So I'm going to stop you already. I don't care who in the past has been a deist. I don't care how smart they were or how impressive they were. Like, actually defend it.
Oh, my defense on, okay, you're right. Okay, deism makes sense to me because it believes in natural laws. So I believe Aristotle's first mover. I believe that Aristotle may be somewhat of a deist. I'm not claiming he was, but the first mover is deism. So it pleases my intellectual and reasoning mind, Matt and Arden.
So why?
And so God.
This doesn't really sound like evidence in defense of deism. This sounds like you like deism. You find it personally pleasing. It's not really a defense of deism. That's just you like it.
Okay, what's my defense on deism? My defense is it makes first, I used to be a theist, so I think it makes more sense to be a deist than a theist because God apparently doesn't care that much what we do.
I didn't hear what you said right there.
So God clearly doesn't care.
I said a deist God doesn't care who we have sex with, who we vote for or don't vote for.
Let me try and be clear for a second. When we're asking you to defend a position, we're not saying why do you like it. We're saying why do you think it's
Brant.
Brant, what are your preferred pronouns?
He, him is fine.
You're calling from Wisconsin?
Yep, correct.
I was actually born in New Holstein.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I think 3/4 of the whole town is related to me some way. Are you an atheist or a theist?
I am an atheist, though I'm going to attempt to defend pantheism.
Okay. I don't have any room for atheist calls right now. On top of that, I mean, as an atheist, why would you try to defend pantheism?
Pandeism. I believe that's fairly likely, about like 50-50 chance that there is a God. I just don't really believe that there's enough evidence to really say, like, per se there is. I just think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that based on contingency, that there has to be a creator of some sort or some type of like singularity event, and that this event spawned the universe via an act of cosmic suicide, basically.
Sure. So I'm gonna help you out because I can't put you in the queue anyway. You're gonna get torn to shreds if you take that in front of Matt, because the first thing he's gonna say is how did you decide that it was 50-50? And then he's just gonna go down that road. So you might want to try and distill this down to some sort of theist statement and see if it makes sense, or thesis statement, sorry, and see if it makes sense to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people call in with almost this exact point, and every time the hosts just tear them up. I mean, so I would definitely take some time to kind of write it down and then read it and make sure it makes sense to you, and at least feel like you can you've got some points that you can defend, because that 50-50 thing, that's not going to hold any water with anybody.
That's fair. Gotcha.
All righty.
Yep.
Okay. You can try calling back in a half hour if you like. You know, we've got a full queue of calls, but I mean, until they cap the calls, we're still taking them. So as long as they get to the atheists, I'll have room for you.
Awesome. Cool.
All right.
Yep. Take care.
Yeah, be well.
Ah, bummer. An atheist, do it, Brent. This should be fun. Ah, well, too bad. They don't want to accept atheists that are trying to defend Philippe Mainlander, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it has to be a 50-50, man. What else? It's either there's a god or there's not a god. And when it comes down to it, I mean, there's the Philippe Mainlander thing is complete explanation for the universe, the expansion from one point, you know, pure chaos, all that type of stuff. Explains why there's evil in the world and why nothing cares whatsoever, and why we all are drawn towards like death and suicidality, and everything deteriorates and basically leading towards entropy. So it has like a lot of things going for it, but it's basically just at 50-50. I mean, like, what's the point? It's basically just like, but yeah, if the host is gonna just be like, and just being like, you can't prove anything, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, I technically can't prove anything, so I'm just gonna not, I guess. Hey, how's it going, Jay?
Hey, man. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be difficult to prove Mainlander because what he says, it makes sense based on the fact that the universe is entropic, but at the same time, at a biological level, it operates on evolution, and evolution is a process that continually, strives to survive. So, or at least promotes survival. So it doesn't make sense that a god who's trying to kill itself would use a mechanism that promotes survival at any cost.
That's true. But I guess yeah, I guess that is true. That's a good point. Yeah, survival at any cost.
So yeah, that's really the only.
I mean, I guess it's less survival and more replication of the molecule, because like survival is not necessarily the goal of evolution. It's more just to pass on the gene. But
I mean, isn't that a bit of a semantic,
you can say survival of the molecule, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
So, but the molecule is constantly changing. So, I guess I don't really know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would lean more towards Mainlander's view because I think it makes a lot of sense. But the only chink in its armor is evolution for me, and that's the only thing that will keep me back from thinking that it's the truth.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, I'd love to see you argue it to Matt Dillahunty, though. That would be dope to watch.
That would be dope. But yeah, Matt Dillahunty. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather argue with him more, I guess, something about like antinatalism or ephilism. That's more my forte than Mainlander, at least until I read Mainlander's thing, which comes out in a couple days, actually, I'm pretty sure. So
Mainlander's what?
Philosophy of Redemption, I believe it comes out pretty soon. At least according to the Reddit, it says it'll be done being translated at the end of August or end of September or something. So it's like end of this month or next month that the Philosophy of Redemption.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna
read that. I love to read that.
I'm gonna read the shit out of it. I'm gonna read that front to back twice and just be like, But yeah,
maybe you can stream yourself reading it.
Yo, I might do that. But yo, I just realized Do Not Watch is live, so I might end my stream and hop into there.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he is. He just came out.
All right, well, let's hop over.
Cool. I'm gonna do that. Ciao.
Nice.